Hey everyone, we're I'm a Big Fan. I'm Nade.
I'm Jel, and today we're doing a 3-movie review, my picks this time. So to give a little refresher, what we're doing is we watched 3 different movies. One of them was suggested from a friend, one was a random one, and the last one was a revisit.
We also have a scale of good, bad, or boba. Boba being the absolute best and good or bad being good or bad. So let's get started.
So the first one was a suggestion from a friend. Me and one of my friends were talking about Pedro Pascal, and this movie popped up when we were talking, and it's called Prospect. It's from 2018. So, Nate, what was your first impression?
So I didn't know any of the movies that Jel picked, so I went into them completely blind and didn't know what to expect. And it was a little bit weird, or I don't want to say weird.
Interesting.
Word. It started off really slow because it starts with just the girl and then her going to like talk to the dad. Just the whole, I think 15 minutes felt really slow for me. Didn't really understand the connection that they were trying to make with them because it didn't feel like they were close. It also didn't feel like they were strangers. Like, I don't know. It felt like a little forced to me. And I think they could have just done away with it altogether and just jumped right into the movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. The beginning, this is also a movie I haven't seen yet. It was just like my friend suggested and everything. So I was like, okay, I'll put it on the list. But, so yeah, I had the same reaction. I kind of was like, okay, where is this going? I thought in the beginning though, the visuals, like the cinematography so far was like really good. I really enjoyed it. It was really nice, and that was mostly the why I noticed first in the beginning. And also cool headphones. Her headphones the main character has are pretty cool design, so I was just like, okay, yeah. But yeah, I agree. I felt like in the beginning it was kind of weird. I even wrote down, like, I put like I guess who her dad was supposed to be, I thought it was like a stranger or something. I wasn't entirely sure who this character was at first, and then after I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, oh, this is her dad.
Yeah, it's really only when he's like, you look like your mom, kind of
thing. That scene, I was just like, oh, there was no chemistry at all.
Yeah, it felt so plain. Mm-hmm. And nothing like kicks in. Like we were discussing it after, I felt like the terminology that they were trying to use to make it sci-fi didn't come across very well. It just it felt like they were explaining something too much to try to make it seem like a real thing, whatever they were going for. And then they overdid it, and it was way too much information. So at least from my perspective, I felt like it didn't come across well.
Yeah, I felt like, I even mentioned this when we kind of discussed after we finished watching. I felt like I was watching a really good high budget student film. Mm-hmm. So that's like how I felt when I was watching the thing. But yeah, I felt like they were trying to like let us know what's happening, but like it became like a little bit too much because we kind of got lost in the information. Mm-hmm. I did think it was cool, like the whole like harvesting and stuff, like these like weird like stone things. Yeah, overall, I felt like it could have been something more, you know?
Yeah.
I felt like a lot of the things that they were doing were like pretty cool and like pretty original, you know? Mm-hmm. Especially like, because there's so much sci-fi and like movies and everything, so it's like you're starting to like, oh, like how am I going to, you know, differentiate my movie to like other sci-fi. And I felt like they did have like elements in their like story and like just the overall look to it that was pretty original, so I'll give that little props to that. So let's talk about the main reason why I chose this movie, Pedro Pascal.
Right? I honestly felt like he was the saving grace of the entire movie. Like, he was the best actor, had the most like captivating lines. I mean, obviously, given who he is and the roles that he's getting now, because this was in 2018, so I know that he was already in like Narcos and stuff, and so he was already in the middle of like his career picking up with this movie. But I mean, we know who Pedro Pascal is and we know how he acts, so him being the sole reason why this movie is good.
Yeah.
is not a surprise.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, when we were watching it, I was just like, yep, Pedro Pascal. He's the one. I thought I even wrote. I was like, I put a question mark. I was like, Pedro Pascal is a baddie? Question mark in this? Because at first I was like, I wasn't too sure where his character was going in the beginning when like he came and like blah 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 stuff like that. So yeah, it was interesting how he was able to really captivate like his character in this. His character was very like Western and stuff. Like he had that cowboy feel to him,
which is very interesting because Mandalorian is sort of the same way. You know, like they're both, Mandalorian has the Western theme. I can't remember what movie that they like always compare it to, but I felt like his Mandalorian character and the character in Prospect were sort of similar in that he's kind of like alone and traversing.
Yeah, with this child.
Stumbles along a child who he doesn't want to take care of, but then ends up taking care of and protecting. It just felt very parallel, which I was like, oh.
It was like his test run as our.
Definitely.
Oh man, yeah. That's what I remember. I even like wrote in our little chat thing. I was like, "Is this a Mandalorian thing?" But yeah, I like we said, we both agree that he was like kind of the saving grace. You know, I thought don't remember her name. Really bad research, but I thought she was once she was interacting with Pedro Pascal, I felt like she was slowly getting into it, but it wasn't there yet. Yeah, but yeah, character wise, his performance was the only one that's kind of memorable because I don't really remember the other ones and stuff. So, but do you have anything else to say, Nade, for this one?
No, I think we're both on the same page in that there's really nothing notable aside from his performance. I guess just to cap it off, yeah, you're right. There was a lot of potential, but there was something lost in whatever brainstorming they did. And I feel like they did sacrifice the story for better cinematography.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's what, like, I felt like that, like I said, I felt like it was like a really high budget student film. Like the dialogue was there, especially with Pedro Pascal's character. His was like spot on, but everyone else, it just felt really like whatever. Especially with the actual baddies of the story, their dialogue was just like all right. It wasn't like, it didn't really convey this, oh, I'm a bad guy, I'm gonna do this shit, you know, like
I didn't feel like they were really in danger at all.
Yeah.
So it didn't provide any tension.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think my favorite part of this movie was when, spoiler alert, when they were cutting his arm. That was it was gross, but it was great.
Yeah, it was good. That movie really needed comedic relief because no other emotion was coming across.
Yeah. Another thing that I actually did like was when they were actually talking, Pedro Pascal and the main character, when like she was talking about her favorite book and stuff. And then I thought that was just really nice. I felt like it was needed too, especially because they're supposed to like bond. And I feel like, especially because of the fact that her reasoning for not really liking him was because he killed her father. Because we felt like there wasn't chemistry with her real father and the daughter. I felt this whole like her finally like coming out to Pedro Pascal's character like was nice, and I thought I liked it. So, but yeah, that was mostly it.
Moving on, next movie.
Okay, so the next movie was just like a random movie I found. So it's In the Shadow of the Moon, 2019. It's a Netflix original. And so, Nade, what did you think?
So this one was a big surprise. So I had to look up a little bit of it before because I didn't want to go in completely blind again. So I didn't know it was going to be sci-fi, and I knew it was going to be a crime movie, but beyond that, I had no clue. It's funny, I didn't mention this when we were watching all the movies together, but after watching Pedro Pascal in Prospect and Boyd Holbrook in this, it really made me want to watch Narcos again.
I realize now that they're both in Narcos.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
messaging for you.
I know, it just I don't know. Oh
Gosh. Let's go watch Narcos.
I know, let's watch Narcos again. I'm down to watch it again. Let's go.
I never finished it. Anyway.
Perfect. I didn't finish it either.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
but yeah, the first thing that I remember we both noticed was the focus on the Thomas Jefferson textbook.
Yes.
We were like, why did they do a close-up on it? So obviously that was right in the back of our minds watching this whole thing. When it did finally come together, I still didn't quite understand it. But at least there was an explanation for it. Did you understand?
Yeah, I get why. So Thomas Jefferson is because he owned slaves, and then this is my theory of why they had these presidential books in this whole movie. So I know for a fact that Thomas Jefferson, he had slaves. He owned like quite a few, and like there was a thing where he probably might have had an affair with one and stuff. So I know that. And then Andrew Jackson, I believe he was against the whole like giving giving slaves freedom and stuff and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
I believe, because I think he was going against when the time
emancipation.
Yeah, so that's my theory, that it was because of those things. So they wanted to add, I don't know, because I felt there was very like it was kind of like had a political kind of.
Yeah, by the end of it, I definitely understood it. I think it felt a little different because this movie is 2019, so before all of the really big BLM protests have come around. So this movie didn't feel great.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like it made me feel very uneasy watching it, because I know that it's like history and like that's how it is, and that is how like people are treated, or Black people are treated. But you know, it felt wrong to be like putting it on screen so soon.
Yeah.
So I feel like weird. But it was good. It was still a good story, like the way that they were like putting it out. I think it was still interesting. I'm trying not to hold it to like our year later standards. I think it was.
So yeah, I same here. I felt very uneasy. It was a little intense. But what was I gonna say? But it was an interesting concept. The thing we talked about was that we wish this was more of a series than it was a movie, because it felt like it could have been like cut into like a couple episodes. Like each year could have been like a few episodes and more fleshed out.
I probably wouldn't say series, because it is all in 9-year increments, and there's only so much, because I can't remember her name. I don't think they say her name, but the main antagonist, she only shows up for a short period of time every 9 years, so you can't really cut it up too much. But I would have liked to see, what's his name, Tommy's relationship, Tommy being Boyd Holbrook's character, his relationship with like everyone else around him, the brother-in-law, or like what it was like with what his relationship was like with the mom before. The partner. I would have liked to see more of that. So I think it could have been broken up into like a limited series.
Yeah, limited series.
That's how they jump around so much, because there's not much. I see that they're trying to focus on the night that she's there and any interactions between her and Tommy.
Yeah.
So that's what we've been limited to see. But it would have been really interesting, because I feel like the world is pretty well built and they could do so much more with it. So this one, I feel like in juxtaposition to Prospect, I would want to see more because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
While Prospect, I felt like I want to see more because I didn't understand.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I felt like I could have had more potential too as well. How he was looking after the 9 years, like each year would pass, like how he was like pretty attractive guy, and then when he was going like crazy, basically he was like, just how he looked and like how he was getting older and everything. I felt like it was really nice little touch that they did. It was very
his makeup was good.
His unhingedness was great. So other things. What did we say about the wife? Because Okay, so when we were watching this movie, I mentioned to Nate that I was like, is this 7? Is this gonna be 7? Is Tommy Brad Pitt in this? And like we're joking about the whole like, oh my god, is the wife gonna die? And she does die. Oh bad. But that was a little thing that I thought was really funny and I wanted to mention. But yeah, the daughter, she kind of had a sad life, but
yeah,
I'm glad that, she didn't really have that much hate like we said that she was going to have.
Yeah, but again, I think that's because we don't really see a lot of it, you know?
That's true, yeah.
So we don't see her side of anything other than her trying to rekindle things with him.
Mm-hmm, that's true, yeah.
But it is like 9 years in between, so I'm sure there was like a lot of going on. But so yeah, I totally forgot about the daughter. Yeah, her side of the story is one that I would have liked to see more. I think a limited series would really benefit.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
And this was a Netflix movie, so they totally could have made the choice to split it if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's true. It is. So. Hey, you never know. Netflix might. I'm just kidding. Netflix might watch this review and be like, "Huh, limited series." But yeah, most of the things were what I wrote down was mostly like another president book. She's back. Time travel movie? Question mark? And then just stuff like that. But like I said, I thought it was nice. I thought how it looked was really interesting. They did a very good job with production design. Mm-hmm. Story I thought was pretty good. There's some things that I wish could have been changed because it felt a little cliche sci-fi time travel movie, you know. But I thought it was cool concept with how overall the reason why the antagonist, she was like killing these people was because of for like the greater good, you know. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting take on that idea. Yeah, that's mostly it. The twist at the end, it was interesting. Did you like it?
With that she's
like the granddaughter.
Did I like it? I did not like it. I feel like it's convenient.
Yeah.
That they would loop it around like that. It does make their story more heartbreaking. So I feel like it's a good, you know, plot device.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. Like I felt like the whole how like before the twist when they were at that house for that lady, because he was like looking at the list and she was one of the people that were gonna be killed, right? Yeah. And then she jumps out the window, he's shooting, and that's how she got the bullet. He's in the, you know. So I thought that was cool. Like it was after, like it wasn't before or anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like It was a cool little detail that they were putting into it, and I thought it was cool. I don't know. I guess I'm like 50-50 with the whole plot twist. Like I was just like, oh shoot. When I finished it, I was like, oh gosh. Dang, all right. Like I liked it. Like it was cool. But then I also was like, this is kind of like I felt like it was just too cliche to me.
Yeah, it felt a little, yeah.
So
and it's that like out of the whole universe,
this is my granddad. You're the one that told me to do this job, you know, like it was interesting. I thought it reminded me of Looper. The movie Looper for some reason.
Interesting, because I was thinking of Tenet, but only because I literally watched it like
and I haven't watched it yet.
But it's the whole like time goes backward, like yeah that she's moving backwards in time, similar. So
yeah, but yeah, I thought it was good, but also a little cliche. I think it would have been more cliche if the story was different, but because of how the story was structured, I think I'm more for it. I was more like, I liked it more. So I think they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, like everything around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when I first saw that part, I was just like, oh, all right. Like I had to I know that they were connected somehow, but like it was the back of my head, like they could be related type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's do you have anything else before we switch to our my revisit?
No.
Okay, so the next film that we watched is Three Generations. Forgot to write down the date, but it was like a couple years ago. I think it was
2015.
2015. So this is my revisit. This one I did watch before, of course, revisit blah blah. But the reason why I wanted to revisit this one was just because I remember actually like crying over it. And like I wanted to see if I still had those feelings or if it was just like, oh, at the moment I thought it was good. So this one's also a controversial pick, but we'll talk about that later. So what was your first impression, Nade?
So again, not knowing anything about it other than it being a drama.
Yeah.
Thank you, IMDb. It was interesting. I guess overall my first thought is I really like compared to the other movies we were watching, I felt like interpersonal connection was really good. Like I felt like all of their dialogue was meaningful and it really pulled me in. So I was very invested in their family. I think a gripe that I had with it, which is where I think we kind of differ, is it didn't make me emotional, which like usually I am. You know, usually I'm like crying for every movie. It didn't really hit me the same because I felt like it was focused so much on the mom's story of like her experience with a child who is transitioning. And it felt more of the story of like the people surrounding the transgender person opposed to the transgender person's journey. That's how I viewed it. So any scenes with Ray didn't really like hit me as hard because it felt like his story was smaller compared to everyone else's.
So my first viewing, emotional. I think though the reason why I was emotional is because of just like because I knew how it felt to kind of be not feeling how just being yourself in your own body and stuff. So that was like a big factor of why I watched it and stuff. Because originally I wasn't gonna watch it. I was gonna be like, okay, this is another movie I'm just gonna not watch because the fact that it was Hollywood not finding an actual like transgender person to be the main character of this movie. And so but then I kind of was just like, you know what, I'll watch it to see what's the whole hullabaloo of like the thing and stuff. And then so I watched it and I was just like, whoa, you know, like at the time too, I think it was like 2017 2000s that when I watched it and I was just like, whoa. But now rewatching it, I do agree that it was more in the like the perspective of like the mom and everything. I felt like now like I would wish that it was more like there was more parts of Ray and like their struggle and stuff, because we get hints of it. Like there wasn't too big of like parts when like things happen, and I wish there was more like to explore more to it, especially like with this kind of story, because I felt like it's important to see like people that are going through it with the person that's transitioning, but also I would also want to see more stuff on like the actual person transitioning and like their perspective on it and stuff. So it was interesting. I felt like you said, I felt like everyone's like dialogue was really, it worked well. The chemistry that everyone had as the cast was pretty good too. So
yeah, I feel like they were all great. But I didn't particularly like them, as characters, like, because like the story itself, I felt like they were trying to pity themselves for a family that had somebody who was transitioning. Like all of that made me frustrated. When I didn't think about that and I was just watching them on screen, I felt like it was interesting. They're good actors. I mean, Susan Sarandon and Naomi Watts, they're great actors. So it was interesting to watch them play mother-daughter. And but I did like whenever it was race parts, I liked them because I felt like they came across well enough. Speaking as somebody who is an ally and not a person who is transgender, I felt like the experiences that they put Ray through felt authentic. That it did seem realistic and not like played up for Hollywood kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? It was nice to see also like when he was at the dinner with the dad's with the dad's other family, and then he was talking to the kids, and like the girl was like, oh, but you're a boy or something. And then he was saying, well, I'm in a girl's body. And the little girl says, I think I'm a girl's in a girl's body. And I was like, that's really cute. Like the was cute, you know, showing like the innocence of children and how they can understand things as they are, like without overcomplicating it. I really, that was like a small thing that I like really appreciated from the film.
Yeah, I really like that part too. Can we talk about how many stairs that apartment had? Because every time they would walk, so in the movie they have like this really cool apartment, and there was just so many stairs, and every time like I would think like, damn, my fat ass wouldn't be able to climb just to my bedroom. Like it was a lot.
I like how Naomi Watts' character is like always like passing out at the end of it.
Yeah. She's like on the floor. I thought that was great. That was a little good touch to add to the.
Also, like, it's a really cool apartment, and like I would put up with those stairs for that apartment. I thought it was
same.
Go in there because I didn't understand it at all.
It was interesting. I remember first watching that, and I was just like, "What?"
Where did all these stairs go?
I know. I was like, "Gosh," but it was an interesting house. I really enjoyed it. What else? Oh, I felt like a lot of times was the mom, Naomi Watts' character, she was projecting a lot. I felt like she was projecting a lot of things.
Yeah. On the one hand, I was getting frustrated that she was defending Ray on her own, you know? And then on the other hand, I was like, why does she keep on like going back and forth and getting mad at everyone else and like frustrated?
Yeah.
So it was hard to watch her, but I imagine that it would be something that a mother feels. So I was trying to like sympathize with her, but at the same time,
I was just like, it's like, come on.
I was kind of like, get over it, because they were saying that he knew since he was little. Like it's been years. Like, she should have, I feel like, accepted it by then, you know? Like that shouldn't have been the stage that she was at. Of course, everyone's different, I understand, but it felt like way too long for her to still be in that headspace.
Yeah, I agree too. I guess it's because of how like it's actually the moment, like it's finally happening and stuff. I guess I understand that, but like still I felt like she already, like there's a line in the movie where she said like something in the lines of like, oh, you know, I think it's when she confronts the dad the first time, I think, and he says something like, oh, what if they like end up like regretting it, and then like she says like, oh, what if they commit suicide and stuff. And like I felt like, yeah, it's heartbreaking to think that like I rather, you know, like it was when she said that, I was just like, okay, yeah. But then she goes back and like, oh, I don't know if we should go this quickly, blah blah blah, you know. Like I thought that moment was when she was like, okay, you know. And then, but it still took a while for her character to even sign the papers. Like
they made her go back and forth way too much. Like way too much. All the way up until the end, really. You can't, I don't know. That's too much. I can't think of the word right now. But she should have like grown consistently rather than make her back and forth, because I feel like this probably is the majority her story, right? We agree on that.
I feel like this was like mostly the mom story.
Yeah, so I understand like she's the one who should have the character development, right? She's the one who should have the growth. So it should have been more consistent than what they did. Yeah. Much like jumping around and yeah, it was hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
It was tired of me, you know? Because it was that, and then it was the grandma also doing some like, I don't even know if she was also jumping around or if she was just like playing nice for the sake of being nice in the beginning, and then gradually being accepting of everything. But oh god, it was just make a decision.
It was a lot, honestly. Like rewatching it, there was just so much that was like going on, because I didn't know if the grandma was like for it or not, because she kept on like saying all these, I wouldn't call them backhanded compliments really, right? Like she kept on going back and forth too, but like she would say like, oh, why doesn't Ray just be a lesbian or something, or like stuff like that. And I'm just like, but But I do like the part where she said that, like, oh, just because I'm a lesbian doesn't mean like I'm like, because Ray says something like, oh, I thought you guys are supposed to be more like liberal or something, right? More understanding.
Yeah.
And
I was just line, and I was trying to think of what the whole line was.
Yeah, me too. I was like, wait, I can only know batches of it. But like, I thought that was perfect for how to describe the grandma, you know. I felt like that was the perfect thing to say, because she is also older, and she kind of like they're very liberal, and like they fight for like women. And so yeah, it was interesting. Felt like I really like that of the grandma, like her character, because it's not always like, I feel like, because I like how also like grandparents, you can go any direction with like their character. You can either have them like not understanding, you know, the whole boomer, you know, but you also get like liberal type grandparents, and it's like interesting how to make them, you know, because you can either full on just be the best character, or you can have flaws with them too, you know.
Yeah. And that's why I really respected the way that they wrote the grandma, because she, even though like she was kind of pushing against things in the beginning, she like stuck to her own, you know. She didn't falter in her beliefs. I was like, okay, you know, like that's fine.
I know, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I liked also how she
like, and you hold yourself well, you know, like I'm gonna let this slide for a little bit. You gotta be good by the end of the movie, which she was. But watching it play out, it was good. I felt like she was a very strong character.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. I thought it was nice.
That was really good comedic relief.
Yeah.
She's like, what's happening? Like, what did I say now? And I think because I kind of operate under the same sarcasm, so I really, not that I am as conservative as she is, but just like I really related to her in the way she's approaching things. Yeah, I liked also how she's like, I'm always right, but sometimes I'm not, and I like that, because like it's tough, especially with like characters like that, or just people in general, that like they accepting that they can be wrong. It's like, it's really big. So I enjoyed that part too. I thought it was interesting, because I'm so used to the other way around, but like them kicking the grandma and wife, them kicking Naomi Watson character and Ray. I thought that was interesting, because I'm just like, I like so used to just like that nuclear family, grandparents gonna like, you know, parents taking care of, you know, stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting when they had that little talk, like, oh, we're like breaking out with you and stuff, and I was just like, oh shoot, like that was interesting to see. No, yeah, I like the that she's like, who's gonna take care of you when you're old? And they're like, we'll hire someone. She's like, that's so selfish, and which is like opposite of usually, right? Because usually the grandparents are like, who's gonna take care of me? And they're like, we'll put you home, you know? Yeah. I like that switch.
Yeah, it was a nice like different perspective of the thing, which was nice to see. Yeah. Did you like how it was kind of, it intertwined like Ray's footage, like it changed from perspective when it was like,
I kind of zoned out when it was Ray's little documentary. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even have a reason why. But I just remember kind of being a little bit more unfocused in those parts.
It was interesting. I would say, like, it was a very interesting little side thing and stuff.
I think personally, I would have rather liked to see more of Ray's life in real time through the video, because the video is really just copies of what we're already going to see or already did see, right? Like the fight. Yeah,
we saw. It was just more of it this time and stuff.
Right. There could have been other content put in there in place. Yeah. I think is probably why I zoned out of it, because I was like, I'm probably gonna see this in a different way in minutes. I don't know. I liked how they were making a documentary about their whole like process and stuff, which was I liked, but like you said, I think I would want to like see more of Ray's like story in like in real time, because it was just, it's hard for me to enjoy a video in a video. kind
of
video in a movie. Like, it's hard for me to enjoy that. I don't know any movies where I like see that and I'm like, yes, definitely they should have got it. or that it was my favorite part of a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get that it's a creative decision, but it doesn't do much for me. I don't have anything like positive or negative to say. You know, it's fine that was a decision that they made.
Yeah, I usually I'm not a big fan. I was kidding. No, I don't really like it. I feel they could have done something different to establish that. I feel like it takes you out of it so much, you know. Like, I felt like only movie I can think that makes sense with like that type of like structure, I think, is Nerve, right? The one with Emma Roberts and Dave Franco. It's like that Dare movie.
Oh yeah. So I guess
with that I understand, but like stuff like this
part of the plot, right? Like, you need it for the plot, so you need to see the video for that reason. It was just like a supplemental kind of thing in this movie, which didn't come across. I didn't learn anything more from it, you know?
Yeah. So
I think that's why it was just like
but yeah, so that was one thing.
It was kind of, you know, not to get too technical, but I did notice some of the cuts they did.
Oh yeah.
Like, it didn't feel seamless. Like, when they were trying to show conversation, I was like, I am too distracted by what you're doing here that you're making. Like, you know, along the same lines of I'm getting taken out of the movie. Yeah, seeing their cuts, I was like, I don't like it. And then also their ADR was bad.
I noticed it a couple times.
Their voices weren't lining up, and I was like,
what's happening?
Like, I totally understand what's happening. Little nitpicks. I don't know why it was like that, because this is like a big-ish movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty big. Well, I'm not too sure. I think it was big though. But
wasn't this the movie where like Weinstein was attached to it? Like, they were under.
I think so.
I can't remember at all. But it was big enough where like you should have paid attention. You know, like, as for someone like me who's just like a casual movie watcher who is interested in that kind of thing, but isn't like fully knowledgeable of the movie making process, I shouldn't have noticed those things.
Yeah.
You know? I
think the biggest one that I like editing wise was when Ray was jumping up and down the bed. Like, before she like sat down, there was a moment where it kind of like the frame shift, like it was two different like angles of her talking, and like I think that was like one of them, and there was like a couple other stuff, but I agree what you're saying.
I don't know if it was fully, but sound editing, like the sounds that they use, I'm like, is this stock? What is that? Yeah, like there was some I was just like, what's going on here? Way too much of that.
No, but I do see what you're saying. I feel like someone just like a person that doesn't know anything about filmmaking and they notice those things. Like, I feel like that's a big no. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, people that are actively like trying to see the mistakes and everything, like it should be seamless, I feel. Like don't get me started. But so let's talk about the controversial thing about this movie.
Right.
So Elle Fanning, we both know she's not a transgender. So
cisgender woman.
Yeah, she's a cisgender woman. My stance on this. So originally that's why I didn't want to watch this, because I felt like, come on, Hollywood, do better. Cast someone that's, you know, transgender. As much as I love Elle Fanning and her performance in this is like, you know, good. I personally, it would have been great, especially with this kind of story, you know, like it was perfect opportunity to have the real like angst, the real emotions of someone that actually was a teen or is a teen now going through that, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the reason why this movie was kind of put in the back burner, because of that. I feel I'm for, you know, representation for like, you know, the LGBTQ plus, you know, like it's well needed. And I felt like this movie, as much as there's like certain nitpicks that we had, or like because of it's more in the mom's perspective, I still thought this was a good movie for someone to like be able to like relate to a character and be like, hey, like I went through that, or I'm going through that, you know, like, you know. So yeah, that's my stance.
Yeah.
But I mean, I ended up watching it, but you know.
No, I agree. It's hard to what's the word, like walk that line, because yeah, they should have picked somebody who is transgender to play the part of Ray, because representation matters. But on the other hand, it is a good movie. Like it does play well, and like I said before, I felt like Ray's experiences were authentic and they felt real, and like I can't speak for it personally because I'm not transgender, but it felt like a real experience, and like something somebody could like a movie that would resonate with somebody who is going through a transition, or through the experience of a family who's like that family. So yeah, I don't know, it's hard to really say where I stand with this movie. But I think if we look at it through a perspective of, this was it was kind of the catalyst, right? Of people being more vocal about it. I know before, we like, it's a constant fight. Everybody's always fighting for a certain type of representation of people who are not always on screen. Did that come out right? Anyway, we're all on the same page. We're all representation. It's not that it just started from this movie, but it really brought about more conversation, right? There's a lot more talk about that kind of representation in movies because of this. So I think that it could still, like, both mindsets can still exist. Yes, there should have been better representation. Yes, this is still a good movie for people who are going through transition.
I just wish, that's just me thinking. But I do agree. I feel like it, even though that is a thing, like, I still think it was a good movie to the point where, like, could, possibly, like, help someone and be like, oh, I'm not alone, type thing.
I think the fact that it's not a tragic movie, because, I mean, I don't know of any other transgender movies.
Yeah.
But if they're anything like lesbian movies where it's always really tragic.
Yeah, it's not like the whole
tragic transgender movie,
Yeah, it wasn't. I think that's why I really liked it. It wasn't how, like, usually what they do, the whole bury the gay trope of writing. I liked how it did have their struggles, but at the end it wasn't too sad. Yeah,
they were able to move past it. They were able to resolve it.
Yeah. But
for the end, actually,
there's still a lot of things that needed to be because it ended with they finally signing. Then doctors, the dads were like, "I'm here to support,"
and they're all at a dinner table. See, everything's fine.
Yeah, everything was fine. We didn't.
Happy ending.
Yes, we need that.
Nobody died, so I think it was fine.
I will only accept the cookie cutter happy endings from my fellow LGBTQA plus community. Nothing else. If it's heterosexual, I don't know. I don't know about this cookie cutter ending, but because I'm just kidding. But no, it was good. I think, like I said, like, moving past the fact that, like, it wasn't what I expected as a character, I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
So. But anything else to say?
That's it.
Okay, so it's time to rank them. So,
all right, Del. So, Prospect for your movie that was recommended to you by somebody that you have never watched before.
Yeah.
Good, Bad, or Boba?
Let's see. Ooh. Okay. I want to say, oh God, this is hard because every movie, there was, like, an aspect of it that I really liked. So it's hard for me to, like, and plus, like, okay, so I'm gonna put it on Bad.
Okay.
But we talked about it. Bad for us is not like, oh, it's like the most horrible film unless we say so.
Right.
And I think the reason why I put it Bad is because I still feel like it's a very high budget student film, which is not bad. Some of them are really good, but the fact that if you really just need Pedro Pascal to really, like, hold the reins of this movie, like, like, come on. Because, like I said before, I like the cinematography. I like this whole world building and, like, originality it has to it. It's just the only thing that really got me was Pedro Pascal. So that's why it's gonna be in my Bad.
Bad on Prospect. Same thing.
Yeah.
You only had Pedro Pascal to keep you moving forward.
Moving on. Moving on. Let's go.
In the Shadow of the Moon, the movie that you found yourself randomly that you decided to watch.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or boba?
Okay. So this is gonna be actually my boba.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is. So this is actually gonna be my boba, just because I see a lot potential in it.
Okay.
Because like we talked about how like it could be a limited series. Like as much I was like saying like rolling my eyes, it's another time travel movie. I still really enjoyed it, and I thought, yeah, I would be interested in watching this more. You know, so that's why it's gonna be my boba.
I'm gonna go good with this one. I think I still agree with you on everything. It's just that I'm not too hyped about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Is my thing. So it's good, and yes, I would be interested to see more of this story, but because there's not more to this story is why I don't want to give it boba.
That's true. I'm giving it too high of a praise, but
it's good. I mean,
good, yeah.
We're giving it way higher praise than like people on IMDb. Like nobody liked it.
No one liked this movie. I checked after.
Did you check after too? I wanted to see what people said, and they didn't like it, and I was so confused.
I think I went to Letterboxd and I was just like, oh, it's only.
They didn't like it, and they didn't like that. I was like, what's wrong?
It's because we're just too much of a big fan. I was kidding. No, sorry, but yeah.
Okay, moving on. Number 3 Generations.
Well, clearly,
rewatch.
Yeah, my rewatch. Well, obviously that's my good. So like I said, the reasoning why for me just having it good is because, like we said, would love to have it more in a race perspective. Also, the whole like would have been cool to have an actual transgender play the role as this transgender team, you know. But I overall still thought it was really good. So that's why it's on my good spot. What about you, Nade?
You can like edit this, and like if we did do it that way, then In the Shadow of the Moon is my boba. But like
Anyways, so yeah, 3 Generations, Nade. What was your rating?
Good. It's good. Yeah. It's good for this because it is just good.
But yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video if you did. Yeah, let us know if you guys watched these movies. These movies. If you watched it. Watch our other videos if you haven't. We'll have more stuff coming up soon. But yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace out.